We're on our desktop today. We're on our laptop actually instead of the phone, and this is all a bit new.
And we can, presumably the comments come there. They do.
They do.
So welcome. Another live with us.
Yay. Today's topic.
Yeah, we want to explore the shadows of the mother a little further. We have done another live on this recently, and
it's in our timeline.
Yeah, and I wrote a post about it yesterday as well.
And we got some messages asking, "Ooh, can you talk more about it?" And so we are going to talk about what the shadows are and how you find the gifts in them and some other stuff. We wanted to just briefly also touch on this idea about the shadows of the mother, because it's along the lines of, if you've listened to our lives, you know that we've been talking lately about one of the pieces that we're talking about lately is the idea of the universal stories of the mothers, and that when a group of mothers truly feel safe and can truly share what's real for them, over and over and over and over again, how many times you hear common threads, common stories, how many times women say, so many times, it's such a common feedback for us, "Oh my God, that could have been me."
Yeah, like I heard myself.
That woman sharing, that could have been me, that could have been my words. We hear that all the time. There's so many universal stories threaded through all of our experiences of motherhood. And part of that universal quality, sorry, dinging happening. What do I got to stop the dinging? Is shadows. There are also some very universal shadows of the mother that are pretty present to some degree in nearly every mother.
They are present in it.
Well, they are present whether you're a shadow or not. Yeah.
And the thing with shadows is they're the things that we most don't talk about. Even though they're universal, we hide them so deeply often because we don't feel safe and we wish they weren't in us. So it's extra
want
powerful
them to be gone,
to bring them up in safe spaces with other mothers.
We consider them our biggest faults, don't we?
Yeah.
So some of the common ones that we hear a lot is the angry, raging mother.
Yeah, I was just saying to Lisa, I would call it the psycho, crazy, raging mum. Like a whole other persona comes out and you just completely lose it at your kids and then afterwards feel like massive shame and guilt. That's definitely a shadow of the mother. You lose it when you're like so stretched.
The slack, lazy, neglectful mother. Yes. Oh yeah, that's another one.
It's the parts of us that we make so wrong and we wish were not a part of us.
Yeah.
And we hold shame and guilt around.
Yeah, and that we beat ourselves up about over and over and over again. Like, I need to do better. I need to change this. I need to be different. I need to be different. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason we shadow work is one of the things that we bring into all of our work is because, well, it's a similar thread to what you've probably heard us say in so many other ways. You need to have a healthy relationship with the whole of you in order to have a really healthy relationship with your children. And the shadow, it never actually works to deny or push away or just try to cut out, or from a place of making something wrong, from a place of blaming yourself and shaming yourself. It doesn't actually work to change something and to get rid of something. It actually makes it get even stronger and explode even more and kind of get hidden more, which then makes it from, like, you probably heard that saying, what you resist persists. And we mentioned in our other live about shadows, like the beach ball effect. The more you push them under the water, the more they fly out like crazy.
Yeah, as soon as you get tired or stressed, or you lose your focus on holding everything down and squashing it in, flies up.
So that's why it's so important to do this kind of work, to actually be really real with yourself and stop like wanting to deny and hide all those aspects of you to yourself, and then also it's incredibly powerful in safe spaces with other people. Like, as Lisa said before, you'll discover you're not alone. But also being witnessed in that process of really getting to know yourself exponentially helps the transformation even more powerfully.
Absolutely. We did a little client interview on our timeline this morning with Annie, who was in one of our circles last year, and she spoke about that, about the gift of being always held in love. And it has a huge amount of power in allowing you to transform, in allowing you to bring the shadow up to the light, which is the crucial first piece in all of this, and be witnessed and not be like shamed and turned away, and and that's a huge piece, isn't it?
It is, and it's also a huge piece because it's actually really, really hard and really scary to claim your own shadows if other people are not able to hold you in love in that. Because like a big part of shadow work is actually being okay with acknowledging the fact that, yes, a part of me is a neglectful mother. Like, it doesn't mean that's all of you, but getting to the point where it is actually okay to admit to yourself those moments that you don't feel proud of, and not having a massive charge around it. Like, yes, there's a part of me that experiences these crazy psycho moments, and loving yourself in that and wanting to understand that. If you do that and are witnessed in that, and then other people further judge you, it makes it really, really hard to do your shadow work. It kind of entrenches it even further and kind of pushes you back in that hole even more.
Yeah, which is really common, unfortunately, sadly, in most mothering communities. There is a sense of judgment, and there is a sense of competition and comparing,
and like well, you should be doing better. You're making a mistake. Like, just change now.
Yeah, and we're not saying that you want to just go, okay, I'm going to be a rageful mother, and that's cool. Like, so that's not what we're saying. But there has to be a willingness and a love towards yourself to be able to say, okay, I acknowledge this is one part that exists within me, and bring it up to the light, because it's from there that you can actually look at the shadow and, shockingly, find the gifts in it, and allow this shadow to transform into something that really serves you, that really serves your children, that really brings a new dimension, more of yourself in a healthy way, in a way that's brought to the light, as opposed to a place, something that's kept in the dark in shame, and then it is coming out in a way that is unhealthy, is not being expressed in its highest form.
Yeah, totally. It's an integral way forwards, because the shadow never goes away. But then also, as Lisa just said, you discover that it actually becomes something that you're grateful for, something that like can become one of your superpowers, can make you a more whole, rounded mother and person.
Yeah. So we often get a lot of really odd looks when we say that.
Yeah, like someone admits a shadow and they're like, that's that one that I absolutely hate, that I just want to like cut out of existence.
How can there possibly be a gift in that?
Yeah, but then exploring it, they discover that there is, and I had that experience, absolutely. Yeah, definitely with the, Lisa was like, I can't see you as a psycho, rageful mother, like, not possible. I was like, that's the point, like, it was definitely a shadow for me. I'm so, on the surface, such a gentle, nice, loving person.
She is. You know, her Kaya's version of I'm really pissed off is feeling really grumpy at you. Like,
but when, especially with my son, like, we have a wonderfully amazing relationship where we can really trigger each other. And there has definitely been times when I have completely lost it at my son, and I kind of turn into a whole other person. Like, I'm a whole other screaming, raging maniac. And I so made that so wrong, to the point where I would, like, the next morning I'd have this like shame hangover, and I couldn't even remember all of what happened, because it would all just be a bit of a blur.
I've cried. Like
Yeah.
a shadow of mine has come up and it's gone wow over the place, and I've been so heartbroken at what I've done.
Yeah.
I've just fallen on the bed and cried. I bet we can all
Oh,
relate to
yes.
that.
Yes. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And the more I just made myself so wrong for that and judged myself like, you should know better, you do know better, how could you lose it like that again? The more it just kept happening.
Remember a couple of years ago, this relates, you remember when we did a lot of shadow work, that weird dynamic we had where we were like, oh my God, how can we be in integrity? We're teaching conflict resolution, blah, 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 like, like that we were teaching it and we couldn't live it. And yeah, it comes up, trust me.
It comes up in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But the more I was like wanting to understand and love that part of me and also feel okay with like just acknowledging to myself, and from a place of knowing that all those ways of being that I see out in the world and that I see in myself are in me and are also in everybody else. And the more we deny them, the more they come up in backhanded ways. So I came to a commitment to like, I'm going to own all of me. It doesn't mean I make it like right or wrong or anything. It's just I'm going to be really honest and real about how I show up and about all of me. And then after that, I'm going to really try to understand all of me and really connect with all of me and love myself in all of me. And then it kind of slowly unfolded, but I discovered that I had, in denying and in making my anger and my rage so wrong, and therefore it only coming up in the occasions when I was so triggered, but coming up in really explosive ways, I was also denying a certain power and a certain congruency, like a certain power that had my words really mean something with my children, and also a sense of responsibility. Like I wasn't really modeling powerful, like empowered responsibility for my own feelings and needs, and I wasn't teaching that to my child. And I also wasn't really claiming like self-care and self-love and honoring my own needs. Like all those things were connected to the rage and the anger, and pushing them away was also pushing all those other things away. And when I welcomed the rage and anger in, like it is a part of me and I love myself in it, then I could actually have more access to all those gifts. The gift of self-care, congruency, responsibility, and power. And they became more of who I was as a mother and more of how I showed up as a mother, and like modeled all that to my children. And I became a more well-rounded mother in that, through embracing my rage and anger.
And not just mother.
Yeah.
Woman.
Oh, yes.
Remember where you grow as a mother, and boy don't we grow, you grow in all areas of your life. It's one of the hugest gifts that being a mother provides us. Our growth is not contained to just the role of mother.
Totally. And a whole other part of it that I forgot to mention just then is around projection. When I deny my anger and rage, I'm actually also suppressing it to the point where not only does it explode up in myself sometimes, but my children are taking that denied anger and rage on. So then my son would do the same. He would be like, in some instances people would say that he is quite soft and gentle, but he exploded like me and would mirror that. And the more that I can have a healthy relationship with that part of me, the more that he can as well.
Absolutely. Our children are very sensitive to our energetic states all the time. And they are always holding mirrors for us. around our own growth, for better or for worse, in
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
many ways, on so many levels. But one of those levels is they will show you your suppressed shadows.
Mm.
They will bring them forwards, not just like through you exploding, although they could keep triggering you too, because they do that, but they can actually you own the shadow for you and really bring it up to the
I
surface.
remember you talked about that, the crying with Maddie, about how you were so making
Oh,
crying wrong.
yeah, I did. I had this thing where I would make crying really wrong, um, because I'm one of those really sensitive people that cries at everything. I can't watch news or TV commercials or everything makes me cry. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. And I would shove that down, and I wouldn't own that. That was so not okay to do. And my daughter totally adopted it. And we never even had a conversation about it, not once. And then she started going, I can't cry. Weak to cry, can't cry. I was like, oh! So they absolutely will like take on and show you all those things you're suppressing on all sorts of different levels, so many levels.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. So in your story about when you were able to say, okay, a piece of me really is really angry and rageful and loses my cool, then Kaya talked about what she actually talked about was the gifts that were coming out of that when she claimed that and owned that, all those gifts of congruency and self-care and boundaries and leadership and empowerment, all these things, they're actually sitting on the same continuum. It's a long continuum with lots of things in between, from wow, this is a really unconscious, unhealthy expression of it, through to, oh, look, this is it in its highest, most empowered form.
Mm.
Yeah. And so you want to start looking at your shadows, that continuum. The ones, if you shove it down and hide it and hide it and hide it, you're going to get, when it explodes, it's going to be that unhealthy, unconscious expression of it that you just go, oh, why?
Mm.
But as you start to claim it and bring it to the light, you're able to look at the whole continuum and go, okay, if this was expressing itself, this energy, this feel in my body, if it was expressing itself in its highest form, what would it be? What could it look like?
Mm. And a way that I was told to kind of look at this that I found helpful was, imagine that this energy, this particular way of this kind of frequency, the volume is turned up so crazy loud, like, you know, when you just turn speakers up so loud that you can't actually hear the nuances
So
of
much
it.
distortion.
It's just like like you can't actually hear the music because you can only hear your eardrums bursting. That is what it's like when it's in its crazy form, when it's in its unconscious form. But if you're able to turn the volume down, continue to turn the volume down, you can hear, you can see other parts of it, and that's when you can see the other aspects of its spectrum. And another thing I like to think of is like, this is when you think of shadows are in the dark. When you bring them to the light, you can actually see them more. Like you're kind of shining light on them so you can see the whole of them. It's like, oh, it's not just this one thing that's so loud it gets through the shadows. There's actually so much more to it.
Yeah. When my son was little, he's still kind of nervous about the dark, but when he was little, he was really scared at the dark. And we would read this book. It was a really interesting book. And when the lights were off and the shadows were being cast by things, they were all scary things on the walls, like they were scary. And then when the light got turned on or he shone his torch on it, he'd go, oh, it's my teddy bear, or oh, it's the cat.
Yeah.
Or like when the light gets shone on it, you go, oh, you see it in a completely different way. What looked sinister and dark and terrifying was a favorite toy. Like,
And it is often, it's like when I discovered how important my like personal responsibility and empowerment and congruency and boundaries were, I realized how actually how much I loved them, and how like I can't be a really whole powerful parent without them. They're integral superpowers in my parenting, and I couldn't access them as long as I kept making the anger and the rage wrong. So you will discover that the gifts are things that you truly want and you truly need in your parenting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm curious, how would you say, I mean, I have my opinion from the outside, but I want to hear your side. How would you say that claiming that particular shadow for you has created more harmony in your family, or more has improved the love and the feels in your relationships?
Well, it has in so many ways, because I do explode way less. I do still sometimes explode, but then I have a very different relationship with myself from when I do, and also know what I need inside that. Like I know the whole spectrum. So it definitely has me explode less, which is great. But then also it's like I have realized more and more over the years how me kind of stepping in my power, my congruency, and my personal responsibility, and like my not taking any shit energy at times, really, really, really serves my children as well as me.
Mm.
It really helps them to, well, in so many ways it models that for them, which is really big, but it also helps them to really know where I stand and to know how to. Sorry, what
I
were
was
you
going
going
to
to
say
say?
something about it's something about creating a really strong container
Totally,
for our
yes.
children to
Yeah,
sit in, is a piece of that
absolutely,
in
yeah.
your particular shadow. But yeah,
Yes, totally. There is a way more strong, and it's still got so much love. Like I think sometimes we get our wires crossed when we're so making a shadow wrong that there can't possibly be any love in that whole that whole thing. But when it's brought into the light, there's so much love. It actually brings more spectrums of love out. That's something definitely that I discovered. Like my whole vision of love for my children before I really did that shadow work was just unconditional love and giving love. And now it's like actually there's so much to the love. There's that giving, stretching love, and then there's also I'm in my power and this is how it is for me and I absolutely love you. Love. It's a
I can
different
hold
flavour.
this with a fierceness too,
Yes. Yeah.
which sometimes our children really appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
So I wouldn't say this was a huge shadow, but I had a shadow around being like a really boring mother. Like, I'm not engaged enough. And like, when I say that to other people, they laugh because, with my children 24/7 for their entire
and
life.
also like organising so many community things and
Yeah, I'm a pretty engaged
which is
mother.
often, it's so often how it is. Other people like are often like, really? That's your shadow? Because
Yeah.
we try so hard to hide our shadows, which is what has them come up like nuts.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had this shadow about not being engaged enough. And it is like, I think too, sometimes our shadows kind of are pointing at some of our higher values too. It's a really high value for me to be engaged and present in my children's lives, right? So I was like, oh, I'm not engaged enough, enough. And it wasn't until I started to make that a little bit okay, like it's, like I started to bring that up and go, it's okay that there's a part of me that's that I'm still a good mother, like that I was able to start looking at that another way. And then I suddenly noticed how much more playful in the moment I was being with my children. It's like it opened a door, just me being willing to say, it's okay. It's okay. That might be a part of who I am as a mother. There's other things in me that's good as a mother, like, and suddenly I realized I was having way more fun being playful on the floor with the kids. Yeah.
And that is a gift. That's like, when we're so stuck in making shadows wrong, it's like we have a really limited perspective of what something is, like what engaged means. And when we can actually embrace us as we are, where we are, it, like, that's often a gift in the shadow is, oh, there's so much more possibility. I can just be me and then more of me can come through.
Yeah, when we take the pressure off the right and the wrong and all of that, it allows space for what's underneath to just naturally rise. Because actually, in my experience, what's often rising naturally out of that, when you can sort of push away that shame and stuff that you're putting on top of it, is how you really do want to be showing up. There's some elements that's like, yeah, I really want to show up like this
Yeah.
in a healthy way. But you know what I mean? Like underneath that, my playfulness was sitting under there. It just wasn't bubbling up as well as it could have.
Yes. Thank you for the love.
Hello to whoever's here. Can't see who's here. I really wish they would not do that anymore because I don't know who you are. But
You can let us know, and you can ask any questions if you like.
Yeah, I think we're kind of at the end of what we were going to say.
Yeah.
So if you want to explore a shadow, find something that... Okay, here's a good one. I would be mortified if another mother saw me do that. Or, wow, if Lisa and Kale walked in on me right now and saw me do that.
If someone was looking through the window right now.
I would be so embarrassed. Something like that. There's a shadow somewhere there. Have a look for it. And then allow yourself to, first of all, make yourself like reach for a bit of compassion. There's a bit of a journey around that, but reach for some compassion and say, well, this might be a piece of me. This is a piece of me. Like, we're so multifaceted. We all have so many parts in it. So, okay, this is a piece in me. Reach for some compassion around that, some acceptance. And then allow yourself to feel that in your body. Even though it's something you normally push away, feel the energy in your body. And ask yourself, you can do it two ways. You can, Kaya and I talked about them, but ask yourself, if I took this feeling in my body and I allowed it to come forwards in its highest expression, if someone else took this and they showed it in the highest form it could be, what might it be? What might be the qualities coming through? Or if you like the idea of, wow, this is really loud and it's all distorted, if I turn the volume right down on it, what would be coming through? What would be the actual music, the essence of it that would be coming through in a higher form that would be more in alignment actually with probably some of your highest parenting values?
And sometimes it can also help to tune into what the needs are underneath and what are some other really empowered ways that you feel good about that you could meet those needs. And that's a whole other way to really explore that gift.
Yeah. Okay, we're at the end. Anything you want to say? Oh, Mother Rising.
Yes, absolutely. Mother Rising. If you resonate with any of this, we'd love you to join us in Mother Rising. Just for the next 2 days, there's an early bird discount. So it's a membership program, an ongoing membership program at an incredibly affordable price. We've never done anything like this before. We've usually done like really high-end small group
or
private coaching.
Yeah.
We really want to connect more intimately and personally and live with more women. So that's what Mother Rising Sisterhood is for. And it's very much about bringing parenting, like the whole experience of motherhood, bringing support for mothers back to yourself first, back to your own relationship with yourself, because that's where it all begins. You can't just jump straight to getting a new tactic to say something different to your child. All those things are helpful, but first you need to come back to your relationship with yourself.
It starts within. And we're all about bringing you back to yourself, bringing you back into healthy relationship with yourself. And from there, allowing it to ripple out into your relationships. And it absolutely does. And one of the things is just what we talked about today, shadows.
We will dedicate a whole trimester, like we're sharing it in trimesters. We'll dedicate a whole one to shadows.
Yeah. And you're going to see that we talked about this at the beginning of this video about love and support and the universal stories of the mother and the universal shadows of the mother. You're going to see that inside the sisterhood that we create, because we're kind of a bit known for our sisterhood. And our spaces are designed for there to be so much support. There is no judgment. There is no competition. Safety. There is just tons of love and safety and understanding, shared understanding. We get it. We're mothers, you know.
And to the point where sometimes things like this kind of melt through that love and support.
Absolutely.
It's incredibly powerful.
Yeah. And already in the group, the sharing has been beautiful.
Yeah.
And already the support is there. If you want to come and join us, please do. We would love, love, love to have you. We would love to reach more and more women
We would.
I mean, we love doing our small private things too, but it's hard to reach the number of women that we really want to help with this.
We would, and this is like incredibly affordable. This is just 33 Australian dollars a month to work in person with us, including coaching and teaching and like asking us any question that you want anytime.
Yeah. This is so exciting. We should put the link to the page.
We will, yeah. And I wanted to just share one more thing.
Well, this is a secret thing. This
So
is only if you've made it to this part in the video.
And if you're listening, because I'm not going to put this in the comments or anything, but we ran a workshop on Saturday, and in that workshop we offered an extra bonus gift to anybody who joined Mother Rising through the workshop to get our whole 12-week home study program on conscious communication and conflict resolution. And that program actually has a whole week dedicated to shadow work. It takes you through a whole process on claiming and transforming a shadow and finding the gift inside it. And that bonus for that workshop has ended. It ended a couple of days ago. But if you're listening right now and you join us in Mother Rising, and then you message our Facebook page, we will gift you the whole Riding the Turbulent River, the Conscious Communication and Conflict Resolution course, as a gift from us. So you'll just message us and we'll give it to you. We'll give you the whole program.
Yay! That's pretty cool.
Yes.
You have to get to the end of our longest live to hear this secret message. But if you did, then it's yours. Let us know.
Yes.
We would love to see you. We'll put the page there with all the details about what Mother Rising is and all the more, stuff. Someone's here. See? Thumbs up.
Yay.
RTR's yours.
Oh, thanks, Kerry.
Thanks, Kerry.
And Elizabeth.
Yay.
You're so welcome.
You're so welcome. We would love to have you as sisters. Come and be sisters with us. We're closing down in a week or so
it's
now.
Not open.
It's not open all the time, and then the community is going to gear up for our first trimester together, and it's going to be special. The women already is special. So come join us. Come join us. Okay, that's it for us today.
Yes. We'll put the link in the description now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.